All right.
Okay, so the map.
Well,
Yeah,
there's a
probably got
lot of
lots of
stuff
iron.
here. I mean,
Lots.
yeah, a lot of iron, a lot of carbon, a lot of silicon, a lot of aluminum, and a lot of water. So we're going to have a very different game this time. I think there's also 5 geotherms.
Yeah, no obvious scientific locations this map.
Man, I hate that ping.
Although I wonder if someone can make the field founding in that field of silicon right next to those 2 iron spots. If you found late,
Scientific colony
I
founded.
wonder if you could make that work. As a 4th spot.
I wonder if Gameslayer is just going to be waiting.
Was an excellent location.
Nope.
for us.
Nope.
Well done on finding.
Nope.
Oh
He
wow,
went
he's
for it.
actually went scientific. Yeah, just for 2 steel mills.
Yeah, that's
He's
what
not
I was
going to
thinking
get
of.
the aluminum.
I don't think he
Ouch.
needed to.
Colony
Oh
founded.
man, I don't think he needed to go second for that though. But well, maybe it was the aluminum. Maybe that's what he
Maybe
wanted.
not. Maybe it
There's-
was the aluminum that he was concerned about, trying to get that quickly. It really does suck for him not getting that, but he could have claimed it first and then the irons, and that might have been safer. You know, I mean,
That's what he should have done because the irons were protected.
yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised the aluminum. I guess it's just far enough away. It's 5 tiles when the protection is what, 4?
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, Zuzani may have heard. Well, I guess he needs a high aluminum somewhere.
I
He's
mean-
spending plenty of money shipping it. So
Expansive colony expanded.
Well, he is expansive, and it's just the 1 tile, not the 2 this time. And on top of that, you know, it's not. It's only minus $15 in fuel at the start of the game,
Yeah.
not 140.
Colony expanded.
yeah, once Zuzani did that though, if I was Gameslayer, I would think about just mutinying a couple times right at the beginning of the game and just being fine with that.
Well, Donnie Totoro going for the power robot this game. You can see he's executing it with the 2 solar panels.
Yep, this is the right way to do it.
And then the elemental quarry, he's already got it goon squatted. Not going to be doing a whole lot in just a few seconds here, but he already's got a total of almost 7,500 in resources saved up. Can't quite push to the expansion, but if that aluminum price dips down a little bit, maybe he'll be able to get there.
And you can see that all of the life support is going up in price. If Donny would be investing in it, he would be generating some revenue out
That's
of
true,
that.
and that is where his money should be. He did get to the upgrade, but
Yeah, but now he has no
now
money.
he has no money to actually utilize it exactly. So that is the concern right now. The advantage is he can push to claims immediately if he was worried about them being contested. But I don't think he was in a situation where that was much of a concern. He was already last HQ level 2. And the only one who was going to hit possibly HQ level 3 anytime soon was Dermas, I believe.
Well, he did need to take some water, but... And he did, and it's pretty far away.
Yeah, that is
Zuzani
very
is
far
shipping
away.
again.
That is going to... I don't know if that's going to be worthwhile with how much that's going to cut into his power cost. His power, you know, generation.
Well, it's pretty easy to make power, especially if you got
It is.
superconductor.
It is. If he gets superconductor, or he can just put down a 3rd solar panel, it'll help.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than fuel.
That is true.
I wonder if we're at the point now where someone in Zuzani's position should have taken those 2 low waters nearby instead of that high water so far away.
I'm concerned about this for Dermas. Dermas already pushing into a geothermal plant. I can't agree with that at all. That is... He could have been HQ level 3 so long ago.
We caught a dirty rat trying to break
Started
our stuff.
maybe starting to push toward a patent lab, even if he really wanted to, instead of one of these steel mills, getting like a triangle of life support resource down somewhere. Wow, that's insane.
Wow. You know, Donnie caught
Scientific colony
Gameslayer trying to EMP that power.
Scientific
That's
colony
weird.
expanded.
Yeah, I see that catch there. And then he turned it right back on to Gameslayer, which could explain the targeting. It was, feels like more of a revenge targeting than anything else.
Yeah, he should have just sat it on that. Sat on the EMP.
Gross.
But it would have been better on the food.
Better on the food than the power, is that what you're saying? Or
The revenge EMP better on the Gameslayer's food than the steel.
I would have hit himself. So he just, I mean, he's just.
Oh.
There's
that's
better things to do with an EMP later in the game.
Oh yeah, well.
that's true, it would have hit himself.
I mean, now you could hit Gameslayer's glass furnaces, keep him from building them.
This is certainly an interesting time for a high aluminum tile to be auctioned.
Wow, $60. That's not bad.
It just shorted, like just a
Yeah,
moment ago.
but everyone's making aluminum, so that price is just gonna, you know.
That's
it's gonna
true.
drop pretty fast.
Even Donnie Totoro, which I want to question that aluminum tile. Maybe it's okay, but as the robotic player, it feels like one of your big advantages is obviously you don't need as much aluminum. Usually you can afford to just kind of ignore it, and yeah, take it if it's right next to your colony, because you can transition it later. But now, late game, that almost always turns into just a dead tile.
Yep.
So is the early advantage from having access to aluminum going to be worth it to have a dead tile late in the game? I don't know.
I hope he knows how robotic works, because he should have built those glass furnaces above the silicon quarry, so he could have gotten 2 bonuses off of it.
That's true. The only advantage right now is if he happened to move into thinking machines later in the game, and even then, it's not a huge deal. Well, that said, everybody has gotten to HQ level 3 by now. Zuzani was the first, so we're going to be watching for him to move into 4 before too long.
Yeah, it's a reasonably close game. I mean, no one has fallen apart this game, which is good.
Yeah. Also worth noting, by the way, that Zuzani has grabbed up a hologrammed patent lab, which everybody's going to know about soon enough, because it's finishing up virtual reality in about 5 seconds here.
I love the hologram patent lab.
Oh, I always love the hologram patent lab. It's fantastic. Now, one thing I gotta say is the colony has not been cooperative this game.
No, it's not great for virtual reality. Oh, no.
Still not great.
Second one just popped up.
Still not great.
No, it's kind of.
But it's okay. It's functional. It could have been a lot better, though. It's all these ridiculous parks over here.
Scientific colony expanded.
Which, colony is really not something we talk about a whole lot, but it is kind of worth noting that this game, the colony looks pretty well distributed across a few different things. But those parks are going to make life support just a little more difficult.
Market is online.
Speaking of life support, that fuel cost.
Worker morale is at an all-time high, thanks to the infrastructure boost you approved.
And that fuel cost is getting a bit silly, and I'm kind of wondering, Gameslayer's put himself in a position where he has to actually worry about water prices this game. Which is definitely going to be a little bit awkward. Geotherm auction coming out. This is actually pretty valuable, I would say. I mean, power's still expensive. Geotherms are limited on the map, even though they haven't all been claimed up yet. Wow, this is super aggressive right here. Is this gonna work? This is so dangerous.
He's out of cash.
I know.
Yeah, he's out of cash already. It's nighttime.
Gameslayer
We'll have
is
to
up
join
on it.
in on the buy here.
Yeah, the question
Gameslayer can
is,
do it.
will one of the other two help out? That's pretty much what it comes down to right now.
Surprised Gameslayer is not doing it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that too. Gameslayer has the cash sitting around that he could do something about this. He actually has enough to just take the kill right now, even.
What's going on? I was going to say, at least Zuzani needs to start buying up. At least drive the price up.
Zuzani doesn't have any money
Gameslayer's
anymore.
doing it.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it
we
is.
go.
There we go.
Dermas jumped in.
Donnie Totoro just saying, all right, you upgraded too fast, you're dead.
Wow, interesting.
Well, that's what happens, I guess, when you go for that patent office. That's what it was. Like, you went for the patent office and the upgrade too fast.
That's what I've often been afraid of when I go for my patent labs, which I tend to like to do, is that I'm going to be vulnerable for a couple minutes. And,
Yeah. I think patience, maybe, like, if you've got extra cash sitting around at that point, I think it's entirely reasonable to, like, start buying up extra claims and stock rather than upgrading. That way you can still use that virtual reality. You've got the extra claim to put down the Pleasure Dome, but you're not in a position where you can just die.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a mistake to do the patent lab and upgrade.
Robotic colony
Well,
We have a limited number of resources.
Donnie in the driver's seat. It's be interesting to see if he can convert.
Yeah,
Really get rid
definitely.
of his glass furnaces, for starters.
Yeah, those glass furnaces are doing
I
nothing.
don't think Donnie is going anywhere right now.
Well, really? You think so? I mean, he's got... I mean, I think he's going into Gameslayer before too long, personally. Well, actually, Dermas is the more dangerous one.
Donnie isn't making a lot of money.
Power would disagree with you.
Well, 40k of depth would disagree with you.
on Donnie? Does he have that much debt? How did he do that? I was looking at the wrong person. How did he get 40k of debt with power going the entire time? I'm very confused about this. Did it just get frozen for that long?
Is online.
He didn't defend his power a lot.
Alright, well, that would do it. I know slowdown strikes have been hitting him, and that's been painful, but it does make things a little bit awkward.
Well, Dermas might actually be able to pull this off.
Yeah, Dermas is sitting on an awful lot of cash right now.
Well, we know he likes to do that.
That's true.
And Donnie is nothing.
I'm kind of wondering what Dermas wants to do with this cash, though. He can... I feel like if I were in his position, I would just buy up some of my own stock at this point.
Yeah, me too. The weird thing is, he could go for Donnie, and then Gameslayer has a choice. Gameslayer could help him knock Donnie out, but Gameslayer could also instead then just buy into
Attack
Dermas.
Dermas. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why things are kind of dangerous at this point, although Donnie does have the strength of the stock price and the subsidiary income.
If I was Dermas, I'd at least buy one share of his own stock, just to, like, not make it such an obvious play to attack him.
Somebody make chems. You're driving me crazy right now.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, there was a
Look at the
patent
price of
office
carbon.
early,
Uh-huh.
and then a
Which is
patent
gone
lab now as well. And there's two patent labs down right now. Like, Dermas has one that he's been sitting on. He got teleportation already. He's headed for carbon scrubbing. And Gameslayer has one. And Gameslayer just picked up Superconductor, which is going to be gross in
I really
like
hope
2
they're going to
seconds
take
here.
out Gameslayer together right now. But
We're not surprised, just disappointed in
It's
them.
funny, they can all team up, but they're also all sort of suspicious of each other, you know? So it
Yeah.
actually worked out pretty well, I'd say.
Man, circuit overload's being fought over. That might clue Gameslayer into where that patent lab is. The fact that he ran into a goon squad with that circuit overload.
Yep.
Financial instruments acquired.
Yeah, that
All
must,
right.
that must have been a surprise for him.
Scientific colony expanded.
Well, this superconductor is getting to do exactly what it wanted to, and Gameslayer suddenly has a boatload of cash. I should point out, Dermas has actually gotten aggressive all of a sudden. And he went after Gameslayer. He's got one of Gameslayer's stock. I don't know why that is exactly. I don't feel much of a plan behind that.
Yeah.
Well, power died. Good job, guys. You killed it.
Yeah, that's the third thing I think he should have done with the money. First would be buy his own stock, second would be buy Donnie.
The black market is online.
Definitely a bit of an awkward choice there. I do have to say, Offworlds are kind of weak this game for their absolute value. Their value relative to Onworld is pretty decent, though. Just
But
as
the
things
Onworld
currently
prices-
stand.
The Onworld price is going to rise a lot faster.
Yeah,
than the
exactly,
Offworld.
exactly. That is the concern.
It makes sense that they're all going for patent labs right now, trying to secure what they can.
Mm-hmm.
well, the chemicals are very expensive, so it's still a bit questionable.
No.
But for the long term, it's still a good investment.
Yeah,
Well, it's not
probably
questionable
still
for
good.
Dermis, because he's got carbon scrubbing, so he can just,
Well, even
hope
so,
that everyone...
the chemicals themselves are what you're spending. And that could have
Right.
just been cold hard cash if he had wanted it.
Well, and he deleted his patent lab.
Yeah, it's gone. He's into that off-world market now. Slowdown strike right next to it is gonna, well, slow that down a bit. But let's see, slant drilling for Donnie. Gameslayer's going for thinking machines.
I like thinking machines. That's,
I always like thinking machines. I think
that's
that's
going to pay off with the long-term game, which looks like we're settled down for.
Mutiny seems to miss its mark.
Okay, Dermis has got to start buying shares of his stock now. Because now that everyone else has gotten to near the 50% mark, now there is sort of an obvious situation. Donnie and Gameslayer should team up on Dermis.
Yeah, I am really concerned that Donnie is just going to end up sweeping through this one after that quick buy onto Zuzani where he hasn't been punished at all. He's just been allowed to secure all 5 of his stock that he needs.
Okay, good. Dermis is buying. Okay, good.
Dermis done the same
Everyone-
thing. So Gameslayer's the only one still even remotely vulnerable to majority, but only one away. He's probably
The
fine.
black market is online.
Now, I do have to say, thinking machines plus being scientific, that Offworld is very, very secure that Gameslayer's
Yep.
throwing up.
Yep. So now that this is a long-term game, I mean, Gameslayer is set up well for that. He's got two upgrade labs going. He's got an Offworld that's going to be well protected. He doesn't even need to goon squad it. So this is an interesting match because Donnie has that is going to give that dividend into the comp, but Gameslayer with the position he is and the experience, I would trust him to make more money, for the rest of the game.
Man, people are really trying to drive up that power price right now. Although Donnie Totoro, I think, would be better served moving away from his solar panels rather than exclusively trying to just drive up the price of power. You do gotta say though, upgrade labs costing a power a second it could have been scary in the right game state. Oh, yep, Gameslayer knew where that Offworld was. He did manage to identify that after the Goon Squad interception, and so he's got 2 Offworlds functioning now? Both of them sending chems, which should be pretty good. So Gameslayer, he's managed to secure an off-world market and 2 upgrade labs. And he has all 5 of his stock that he needs. The concern is people have already bought 2 of his stock. So now things are looking a bit awkward.
9,000, 10,000, 12,000, 14,000, 16,000, 18,000.
This neutral colony, what a jerk.
20,000.
What are you?
It hates Donnie's Pleasure Dome, I guess.
It's like, oh, that Pleasure Dome, that's gross. We don't want to be anywhere near that.
Yeah. That's too bad.
It's fantastic is what it is. It's hilarious.
But Zuzani is the one with virtual reality, and the AI is not using that at all.
Yeah, where's the AI's Pleasure Dome now? I'm so confused. In any case, Donnie is moving into a hack array. It is worth noting that Donnie, okay, he does have the Offworld. It is hologrammed to look like an electronics factory right now. And I don't know if anybody's actually spotted that yet. Haven't seen any moves against it whatsoever. And obviously with slowdown strikes in the game, that leaves things interesting.
He just got back the alpha market again. Good job on Gameslayer, really take advantage of that.
Yeah.
You get a little window where you can put a goon squad down after you get your alpha market back. And
like 10 seconds or something.
Yeah. Dermas really should have focused on that. Instead, he built a second alpha market.
Oh man, Zuzani, you're silly. But yeah, that off-world market, that second one, I don't like that at all.
Thank you, Zuzani.
Yeah, that's a good observation. All of us missed it.
Well, EMPs with 2 scientists down, like, you're going to use that mostly against Donnie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Now,
it's amazing because Gameslayer has that just unprotected off-world. He doesn't care.
And it's not even hologrammed.
Yep. Yeah, that thinking machine's really paid off.
Oh yeah, thinking machines in a game with mutinies and slowdown strikes available. It's so good. So important in my opinion.
Now, Zuzani did give away that Gameslayer was...
was
red.
Gameslayer? Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. But...
I mean Gameslayer is complaining about it. So
oh, I know Gameslayer's complaining about it. I just didn't see it. Was all I was saying. Alright.
I don't think it was a mystery to anyone, but, still.
Dermas has the power to turn this game on its head if he wants to, by just buying into Donnie Totoro at this point. And I'm kind of curious how that's going to go. Oh, Gameslayer, I think we're reading into things too much at this point.
Oh, man.
Mutiny on the off-world market of Gameslayer, that's pretty much certainly a mistake. It means that Donnie Totoro hasn't really identified where the other off-worlds are. I think Gameslayer's spending too much time in his head and not enough time playing the game.
Yeah, no kidding. It took me a while to even figure out what they were talking about.
This is what I'm talking about. Like,
It says he was rooting for Herbert, but then everyone realizes that Herbert's normally like you know.
those upgrade
I don't think
labs
anyone
sitting
missed
idle
that.
right now. I'm just saying. Those could be doing a thing. The spy that's never caught the off-world market. That was definitely doable.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, things are just looking a little awkward all of a sudden.
I don't know.
Alright, well, Gameslayer is way behind on cash.
The black
I think
market
Donnie
is
Totoro is
online.
just about there at this point. He's got 250,000, which he's only needs 466 to finish off Gameslayer, but he does still have to be concerned about Dermas, who is sitting on almost 300,000 himself.
It's amazing. Dermis has 8 shares of his stock when the stock price is so low.
Yeah, nobody's ever bought into that and decided, hey, maybe I should get a piece of that while that's cheap. And Dermis, he's paid off some amount of debt, it looks like. He's in that B range now instead of that C. Where's that coming from? I think it's just power generation straight up that's doing that for him.
The black market is online.
Why aren't you consuming power, Dermis? I guess he's got water. Yeah, that would do it. That water's short, though. Who is going to benefit off that the most? Probably... I couldn't even
Donnie,
catch
it
it.
looks like.
Yeah, did Donnie...
Trying to shoot up.
Yeah, he's got 400,000 now. He's almost to a position
Wow.
where he can knock somebody clean out of the game. And Gameslayer is struggling. Gameslayer is just struggling to make money at this point, it seems. He's chosen to put
Oh,
that
wow.
second off-world market down. I don't know if that's going to pay off in time. It feels really late.
He's losing money on those reactors. Why does he have those reactors to begin with?
But
I mean,
They
the
were-
deal is...
They used to be profitable.
the question comes
What's
down
that?
to at this point,
Is he even using his upgrade labs? What's he doing?
I don't think so. I'm just watching Dermis and Donnie at this point, who have so much money. Donnie can buy Dermis
So
right
the question,
now.
yeah, the question is, do they go for each other and just ignore Gameslayer?
They're the ones
I mean, if
with
you, if
the
you buy,
cash.
well, if you buy Donnie, you get basically almost all of Gameslayer. Or well, you get half of them. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Donnie has the cash to buy Dermis and hasn't chosen to do it, which I think is maybe the wrong decision. Whoa, Dermis actually sold out in
Nope.
order to get the buy onto Donnie.
Donnie.
Yep,
Wow.
he should have just
Oh,
bought
boy.
Dermis. All right, guys, we have a game now.
Oh boy.
Gameslayer has no cash, though, once again. Like, Gameslayer, he's got a lot of his stock secured.
Yeah,
gonna take
Dermis
him-
still has more cash than Gameslayer.
Yeah. But Dermis has a long ways to go. Gameslayer can already see his goal, like around 500,000 is what he needs at this point. Subsidiaries are pretty evenly split. Small favor toward Dermis. Gameslayer has those upgrades, though, and he's done spending money on off-world markets. So this is a close one. I think Gameslayer is going to have the edge here. Because Dermis has 2 more stock he's got to buy through, and those cost 113,000, 114,000 a piece right now.
It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. Those early stock that Gameslayer was able to buy, I think, are really what's paying off here.
Yeah, he had those 2 immediately. Then he's gotten those other 3. Well, he got those 3 before Dermis got to the buy on Donnie, and that was absolutely massive because that saved him about $120,000. Just choosing to commit to those 3 before Dermis got there. That was so important.
Oh, good lord. I think when there's 3 players left, it hardly matters who's who. Anyway.
I don't care about that argument. It's stupid
I'm getting
and
so
it's
confused.
childish, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
In any case, Gameslayer's got the edge at this point. 400,000 up against
Black
Dermis
market is
at about
online.
275. I gotta say, Donnie, I feel like it was a mistake not to buy Dermis. That felt like the right call. Then you've just got one player you've got to shut down in Gameslayer, and while he's well established, so are you. And you're also, I mean, Dermis had a fair amount of his stock, some at least. He could have gotten that back.
12,000.
It's just all, it's all very awkward. All right. Auction for 12,000. I don't know if that's going to make a big difference this game. I don't think I would have taken it Because how is a tile going to make you $12,000? Or even $2,000 before this game ends, I have to ask you. But I think Gameslayer's just about got it wrapped up. He's up to 77% right now. As long as he correctly identifies when to cancel his Offworld market launches, so he's got access to all of his resources at once, he should be the one to end up taking this.
Offworld shipment launched.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all the money.
More Offworld launches, which is all fine. He's up to 96. It's really close. It may come down. Oh, 100%. So if Gameslayer can identify... Yes, he did.
Was Dermas over 50%? I wasn't paying attention.
Dermas was over 50%, yes. Dermas was up at like 70.
Okay, that's not bad. It was a close game. I mean,
it was a close
tough
game.
Situation there at the end there.
Donnie, man.
Did he not realize he could have bought Dermas?
Well, I think Donnie, he knew he could buy Dermas, I think, because that red button was even had appeared. I think he was pushing to Gameslayer, maybe with the thought that if he had correctly identified that as Gameslayer, which I think he probably didn't know until Gameslayer, like for sure until Gameslayer said, "I'm Gameslayer." I'm just throwing it out there, like that does.
Then they knew for sure.
Then you know for
There's a
sure.
pretty good chance the other players literally did not notice what was going on at all.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because they were going to be busy with their own stuff. But if Donnie had gotten to that buy, it does guarantee a next game at least. So maybe that's where his head was. But it didn't get there, and so that means we're actually done.
Yeah,
just 3 games, 2 wins to Gameslayer.
Yeah. The Gameslayer had a pretty bad trough there for a while. I didn't think he was going to be able to pull this one off. So.
Well, those upgrade labs, I think, made a pretty big difference. And plus thinking machines. Like, we saw him getting constantly hit by slowdown strikes.
Yeah.
And so, having the time of those slowdown strikes, I think, was a very, very, very big deal that game.
And no one else researched a single upgrade the whole game.
Not to that degree.
Well, it was a close one. It's pretty good, though. Donnie and Dermas both definitely showed up. And Dermas actually made the most money for business net revenue that last game by $10,000. But I think his debt killed him too much. Just having so much debt. He got $123,000 in interest charges.
Yeah, I mean, we should probably have.
I mean, yeah, okay. Let's just
a
say
guideline
for the
that-
future, guys, when you get knocked out, don't talk. Okay? Good. Okay, we're done. There. Especially because I think all of those people are here right now for who will be in the game tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
hey, don't
Nothing
talk
good
when
is
you get
gonna
knocked
come
out.
of that. No.
There.
All
It's
right,
that
speaking
easy.
of tomorrow, is 1 o'clock? I know Blue said he can make 1 o'clock, and I can make 1 o'clock. Yeah,
I
1
can
o'clock
make-
Eastern.
Me too.
Okay.
So it's up to Gameslayer at this point.
No, that's a good audience for this game. It's good to see.
Yeah, people showed up for this one for some reason. Maybe just because it's Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I can do 1 p.m. Okay. Okay. That's the date. That's the time.
Yeah, he did. I think he did say that in the forums, but
Sure. Just making sure everyone knows.
So tomorrow you're spectating all on your own.
oh no, never done that before.
No, I know, right?
I'm sure it'll be good games at least. You guys will keep me on my toes and have plenty to look at throughout the whole thing. Hey,
Yeah, I
the
hope
colony
so.
finally hugged the Pleasure Dome. It's like, alright, we can be friends a little bit more. I still love this though. There's this protrusion of 5 habitats out here. And any one of them could have helped out and was like, nah. That's just special.
Well, one of them did. One of them did, finally.
Well, one of them, yeah, but he could have gotten the 4. It didn't really matter, especially without virtual reality this game. But ooh, I gotta say, I feel like Donnie Totoro staying in power for so long in that game. Maybe it was the right call, but it did feel a little bit awkward, especially because he did manage to develop quite a bit of debt at some point.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't quite convert that Zuzani kill into an absolutely secure lead. On top of that, I would have loved to see him like attack Dermas with Gameslayer. Maybe. Like Gameslayer started buying into Dermas, so Donnie can also attack Dermas at that point. You just knock Dermas out of the game, right? And then you're in a dominant position on top of Gameslayer by having almost a whole subsidiary to yourself. And then half of another one, effectively.
Well, my point in killing somebody early is to take out the biggest threat. And I don't think Zuzani was that threatening yet.
Maybe he wasn't that threatening yet, but he had already established a position where he had a patent lab down. And he was equal upgrades with everybody else, and he had virtual reality already. He beat everybody else to the patent lab, and he was using it effectively. So I would actually say Zuzani was a pretty big threat at that point already.
Well, I'm thinking in the short term, like who has the most cash and who is making a lot of cash right now.
I think if you can knock them out, it's just straight up a good idea.
I think it was the
that
right
point.
call. I think the mistake came in how the play came after that. I really think Dermas and like once Gameslayer had started and Dermas had started like nipping at each other a little bit, you just force the fight against Dermas and you take the game from there easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Gameslayer is right that, he might as well jump in on that. There's a pretty good chance it was Zuzani, so, why not?
Yeah. In any case, that is going to go ahead and wrap our games up for today. Since a lot of people trickled in later in the day, past broadcast is going to have the video, and I will have them up myself before too terribly long as Twitch and YouTube are cooperating over on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in seeing the earlier games from today that you might have missed. Do you guys have anything else to contribute before we wrap things up here?
No, it's good games.
Yeah.
No, it was good.
And I'm glad Donnie joined us. It's good to have 4 players.
Yeah, it was very nice of Donnie to go ahead and step in and kind of prove, hey, I can actually play with the big boys. By the way, there may be just a few like technical errors here and there, but those will all get cleaned up with experience. So maybe we'll have someone new on the block for the next tournament in particular.
Yep, definitely.
Looking forward to that. Okay, well, if there's nothing else to really talk about, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Skype call and then wrap up the broadcast after that. So I guess I'll probably talk to you guys tomorrow at the finals.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow.
Bye. All right, guys. Nice to see so many people tune in today. That was kind of cool. Always like to see people actually watching Offworld when I'm doing it. It gives me a little bit of encouragement to keep doing it, which is always good. You guys heard? Tournament tomorrow, 1 Eastern. Noon my time if you go based off of Central for whatever reason, because you're weird. And because that's what my stream uses. You guys can do the conversions yourself. I'm not going to go through the effort. For now, I'm going to get on out of here so I can go ahead and post these things to YouTube. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.